what's up, beautiful people, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to another episode of Black Business Booming. I'm excited. Listen, I encourage you to go ahead and subscribe, like, share, tell somebody about this because you're in for a treat. As I always say, because it's true, I have another dope interview for you. Compos fam, here we are again, man. Bro, you are number 11 of the Convos fam that's done a Black Business Booming interview. I'm so excited because this is one I've been looking forward to, people. I love people with just a wealth of information and knowledge, skills, and talents. And we've connected on, again, the Convos app, and so many things in common, and almost like a brother relationship already, you know. Like we've been knowing each other way longer than what we have. So I'm going to dive into it, bro. Without further ado, man, tell everybody your name and a little bit of background about you before we jump into your business.
So what's good, Black Business Booming? It's your guy, Kelzlison, because I listen from heaven to earth to me, to you, and settle it all in love. I am the Freedom Coach. And I represent Unfiltered Love. That's my brand. That's what I do, coaching, counseling, mentoring. Oh, and I'll cook you something better than your mama and them, but don't tell them I said that. Just go and eat it and then, you know, enjoy it. But yeah, that's it. That's me.
Love it. And people, again, man, that's it right there. That energy. I tell everybody all the time, I'm a ball of energy. So people with that higher energy, the helping feels, we connected again because as I call him, Kelz, my bro, does so much, and that coaching mind connected us. So let's talk about your business, man. Tell everybody your business, what you do with that, or your businesses, multiple, because you do so many things. But tell everybody your business, right? Tell everybody your business and a little background on what inspired you to start your business.
So I'm going to answer your question backwards because, you know, I'm so used to interviewing people that I got to answer your question backwards. So my business is Unfiltered Love. But what inspired me to start it is, you know, you go and you think about love and people are like, oh, love is so cute. It's rainbows. It's cute babies. It's just us being intertwined and thinking on the same accord and being one. And that's fine. But what about the ugly babies? What about the hurricanes? What about the times that it rained? What about the times that somebody does something so hurtful to you that you can't forgive them? Do they not become your family? Do they not become your friends? Are you no longer in communication with them? And a lot of times we run away from those situations, right? And a lot of times when we think back, we go, I probably could have handled that better, but it's been 5 years, so I'm not going to call them. It's been 6 months and I'm not going to do anything about it. So when we start thinking that, love actually has a filter on me, right? It has a filter based on where we grew up. It has a filter based on our gender, has a filter based on our sexuality. But we throw all of these filters on love and act like love is unconditional. No, it's not. You're loving with condition. You're not doing this Mary J. Blige, and I'm loving you every day. You're not doing that. Love has a limit, and you told your limits of love because you had an expectation of what you thought was going to happen in a situation instead of letting it go. So I say all that to say, growing up in Watts, California, and in Inglewood, like those are my two main central places because I'm a kid of LA. So growing up in the hood, sometimes you saw that, right? I have a side of my family that's extremely religious and bourgeoisie, and the other side of my family that's hood as shit. I don't mean because of the station, but that's just got to tell you the way it is. Like they are. And I come out and I'm literally the combination of both. And I love it because what you learn in that, you learn how what my shirt says and what my company motto is to be free and live your mega life. No matter what you're doing, you have to find freedom in it. Even if it's the wrong thing, once you find freedom in it, you just keep doing it because you're like, oh, this is freeing to me. Why do we golf? Because it's freeing. Why do we like going to the spa? Because it's freeing. Why do we like our haircut? Because it's freeing. The things that we find pleasure in, we utilize over and over again. So, I mean, that's that whole repo method, right? Repetition, easy, pleasure, often, habit. That's how the human brain works. And so when we continue to do that and we continue to go, you just get this like, wait a minute, I'm free to love you. I'm free to love you on the terms that you want to be loved on and not some expectation that I put up. So that's what my business is. It's usually helping people find that freedom. I get a lot of people that come to me and say, hey, Kel, what I want to do is, I want to, I'll tell you an example, a real life one that happened kind of recently. A lady, we're just talking, we're friends, and we're just talking, and she says, you know what, I'm thinking about going back to school to be a psychologist. I said, oh, really? Now I know this person, and I'm thinking, you would probably be a good psychologist, but I don't know if it's for you exactly. And as we're talking further and further, I say, you're going to go to school and waste a lot of money because you don't want to be a psychologist. What you want to do is own psychology buildings, and you want to be able to facilitate because you don't actually want to practice. And her thing was, I want to go get the degree so I know what I'm doing, so I can have these buildings and develop psychology for the Black community. And I think that that's good. But what you really want to do, you want to be a developer and you want to be able to facilitate. So you don't have to go get a degree in that. Your degree probably should be an MBA with the healthcare kind of management concentration or something, or your degree should probably be like entrepreneurship with some kind of healthcare. But at you actually going to be a psychologist, unless you're getting a PhD to go teach, or you're going to teach on the clinical, or you're going to be in the clinical, then get a license, which is a whole nother path, And so having that background in counseling, as a profession, and then just being realistic on what we do, I'm always like, slow down. And Mike, I'm a coach. I'm not a cheerleader. Right. I'm a coach. I would cheer you on and I'll be excited, but coaches coach. Coaches coach. Like, and people don't get that coaching culture. And it's not that we even do it on purpose, is we see a result that you say you want to get to, or we see a result from a plan that we've developed to help you get there, and you got to be held accountable for it. And it may not be the nicest thing to come off, but that's what the training process is. That's where we harness our emotions. And that's where we say, all right, you said you wanted to get here. How do you want to get there? And I tell everybody, when I'm either doing therapy or I'm doing coaching, the biggest thing is date me first. And that just literally get to know me. Let's spend 3 sessions. And after 3 sessions, if it does not work, if my personality traits or, my teeth are not as white as you want them to be, or my nose is crooked over there, or I got this hair standing up because it's just one of those lock days, that's okay. There's other ones out there. Don't give up on your journey, your process. So I said all that, made a long story real long. But
bro, that's cool though. You explain that whole, you just wrap that up in a bowl, that unfiltered love, and truly what it is. And I love where you started, like unfiltered love. We're taking off that filter, because like you say, we say unconditional love, but it has conditions, it has attachments. And I also like when you took it in your tagline, be free. Interestingly enough, when you see this, YouTube family, it won't be Friday, but we're recording this on a Friday, and my dub of the day was Freedom Friday. Hey. So what are the odds? Wasn't even thinking and putting it together.
Right.
Hey, I'm interviewing my bro later, and that's his tagline. But it's so awesome how those things work. So talk to me a little bit about what's under your umbrella of Unfiltered Love, because again, you do a lot, with your coaching and the pod and all this. So talk to me about what's under that Unfiltered Love umbrella.
So it's crazy. I thought I had my journal here, and I have a different journal here, but it's just crazy that it went from a literal, I was a teacher and I had this concept in my head, and it said, okay, this is what I want to do. And I was sitting in my classroom, my kids were taking a test, and I just was jotting Unfiltered Love. Unfiltered Love, which birthed really from DKS ministry, because I was like, I'm going to be this great pastor. I'm going to probably have a mega church. Then I realized every time I would go to a church, they didn't like me. And when you grow up in the church, you're like, these church people don't like me. What am I doing wrong? I'm likable.
Yeah.
But when you have a different angle, you realize that your audience has to change. So then it's important to kind of pivot who you are, because I didn't always agree with everything that was going on. And I would do this whole investigative research, and I say, well, the Hebrew word for this is actually this. And I'm going through all these things. So then out of that, I created Unfiltered Love because at first I really wanted it to be called Raw Grace. But then I was like, I
Okay.
don't know about Raw Grace. Because, I still think there should be like some mercy and grace and
Mm.
then I was like, I'm talking to one of my friends, and then I had did something and my friend was like, you just so damn unfiltered. And I was like, bruh, and it hit me right then and there, Unfiltered Love. Because as he tells me that I'm unfiltered, he said, but you always listen. And the one thing I will say, you ain't gonna sugarcoat what you gotta say, even if it doesn't make
Mm.
me feel good. And this is like my brother, and I'm just like, I don't know how. And you take stuff and you kind of be like, dang, maybe I
Yeah.
should cool back and but over the years, it developed to, wait, I'm going to be a therapist because I wasn't a therapist at the time. And it's like, I'm going to actually do this. And I'm going to have to tell people that you're wrong. The habit that you're addicted to is wrong. And I'm going to have to help you rightfully decide things. And if I was going to be a preacher, it was going to be the same thing, right? I was going to have to help you rightfully decide things. And so it was like, okay, let me go to the counseling side because that was going to be the profession. But when I opened Unfiltered Love, I was like, I don't want to really, even though I'm trauma certified, I don't want to deal with that in my business. I want to partner with other trauma certified people, but coach people to what they want to do, whether it's business or whether it's just individual coaching. Like you just need that extra pep in your step. You need that extra whatever going on. So it became that. And then, I think we've talked about the pivot a couple of times. And then what happened, it was like, I was watching some of the people that I love, the Bob Proctors, Lisa Nichols is my favorite. I just tell everybody that off the bat, like, I don't care. E.T., the Inky Johnsons, and I'm looking at these people. Now, like, these are people that I absolutely watch every day and I adore. And it's really a short list because there's a lot out there, And
Yeah, for sure.
Jim Rohn was the person that kind of, what are you doing? You're not making sense. And Jim Rohn has that voice. He's like, so I took two and I put four and it didn't make sense. But when I put two and two and it made four, and I just love Jim Rohn because he does that. And for me, it was like, I used to listen to this man like on CD and just to think, And so I was saying, okay. Then I started finding Reverend Ike and it was like that money stuff. And I was like, this man makes a whole lot of sense. I see why the church people didn't like him. Oh, I'm like that.
Come on.
It was like that click. It was, you're talking about mind power to people that want to control the mind and not people that really want people to be free. And it was the same thing kind of in therapy. You can, and I would always think, you don't come to me for 20 years. That's a waste of mine and your time, unless we're being productive. And over those 20 years now, you're reaching these goals. We're setting new goals every so many months. But I don't want your money for 20 years. I would like to see you out of the bondage that you're in. I would like to see you at your level of freedom that nobody thought you can get to, not even you. I would like to see that because I would like for me to see myself like that. So it's that requirement. So out of that, I will cook and people be like, you plate food who are you cooking for? And I'm like, oh, me. And one day I said, well, I want to have this event called a chat and chew. And I had a chat and chew and I catered the food.
I love that.
I cooked
I love
all the
that
food.
name.
Yeah, I cooked all the food. And then I had a group of people come, and it was a group of women actually, which was even more to me like, oh my goodness. It was one guy there and he was my friend. He was he's another counselor. So and it was just like one of those things like, oh my goodness. And it was about 30 women. And they're just making their plates and and they all sit down and they kind of dressed up, and which I didn't expect, right? I'm here with my jeans and my t-shirt on and the PowerPoint did not work. When you're doing something, technology will fail you. I mean, when I say it'll fail you, every time. And so, I'm very well versed in what I was already going to talk about. And I always bring like a little packet. So I have my backpack and I said, look, this PowerPoint not working, blah, blah, blah. And one lady said, it don't got to work, but who cooked this food? And I said, oh, Unfiltered Love. And she's like, that's the shirt you got on. And the other girl's like, girl, we need to hire him for catering. You do catering? I was like, I do catering and meal prep. Now I didn't.
At the time.
But in that moment, I did cater to meal prep because I realized everybody's talking about this food. And then people saying, oh, it's not really salty, it's this. And like, And entrepreneurs, your mind just starts turning. And then I get into the lecture. And what I had planned to lecture on was what is unfiltered love to you turned into a relationship conversation. That relationship conversation turned into almost a therapeutic vibe where I, as a man, and way younger than the audience that showed up, like significantly younger, were able to talk to these women about things that had happened to them or situations that they were currently in and why freedom wasn't a part of it. So much so that I had to do a part two.
Right.
and it's funny because part one was really cheap. I didn't charge the price that I should have charged. But part two, one of the ladies said, "Baby, you need to charge the price. How much do you think you should charge for this?" And I told her like, "Oh, probably like $25." She said, "No. If you're gonna cook all this food, the food costs you more than $25. You got to rent the facility. You got microphones. You got the technology stuff. Charge what you're worth. Charge what you're worth." And that kind of spoke to me because it was like, wow, people find value in what I'm saying, even though I knew I was valuable. I knew, but it's that thing like, well, what if I'm not as valuable as Elisa Nichols? And who am I to talk to these people like I'm really Les Brown? Who am I to go say, you need to get your stuff together like I'm ET? Like, who am I? Yes, I went to school. I got some certifications. I did some things, and it was a realization to me, like, you are an expert. These people came not knowing your name, but they expected to get something out of it. Now you give it to them. And you keep giving it to them, and you keep showing them who you are, and you keep telling their story, and you keep telling your story, and you build on that. And then this is where that whole thing came from, where it's like people go, wait, man, you cook, you do consultation, and you're a coach. How does that even go together? But that's how it is. It's one of those things. And then I didn't have a business. It was more of a hustle. It was like, all right, this is something I'm just trying. It's cute or whatever. And then it was like, no, this is a business. And that changed everything. So under that, you get podcasts, you get, some YouTube videos, you get morning. And I used to do a lot of morning motivation. I'm kind of getting back to that. The 1 minute, hey, this is your unfiltered love moment. And just letting people know, hey, it don't matter what the hell you're going through in this life. You can make it. That's the overall message of that 1 minute segment is smile. Did you wake up? You felt that? You felt that again? You felt that again? You're alive.
Yeah.
You felt that? You're still here. So what happened? Somebody made you mad. Did you feel that? You're supposed to feel all of that. So yeah.
Love it, man. That's so amazing and inspiring. And for those watching, it just makes me think of really chasing your gifts and walking in it, right? And sharing your light. My good friend, she's been on Black Business Booming as well, and she's an author. And one thing she talks about embracing your light. And when you don't walk in your gifts and share your light, you are robbing somebody of that light and yourself.
Yes,
and
sir.
So that's so dope, man. That whole umbrella of everything that you're doing with Unfiltered Love, man, is amazing. And that's another reason why I like conversations in these interviews, because I found out stuff I didn't know. Like, bro, you are a one-man show for sure. So when was Unfiltered Love? And this is kind of what we've talked about before on Combos, is taking it from a hustle to a business. And I love when you said that. So when was that? What year, or when did you take it from a hustle to now a business, make it official, right? Yeah. And what was one of the most challenging things for you making that transition of now, okay, this is a business. I got to be business minded.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I was at for the job I was working currently, I was a counselor. And so a lot of we had crisis intervention. You get the therapeutic day treatment, which is inside the schools and helping kids, and you can do in-home. And then there's also, multi-services for adults. And then there's outpatient therapy and, the regular stuff. And so I had become the marketing chair. And this is probably like 2018, or 2016 or 2018, one of those. And I had just joined the company, and they was like, "You're going to be the marketing chair." And I was like, "Why?" And so I had been the marketing chair for a little while. And you know how people, I've always been the morale person. Like I can feel morale go down and I'll just walk in and be like, yo, we ain't doing this. No, no. And just be extra over the top. Everybody's like, we don't know you, but why are you so excited? Because I'm alive. What you mean? Because you alive. You are alive. So I'm excited that you're alive. Like people are like, he's crazy. He's crazy. And I'm like, I know, I am a little bit, probably. I don't know. Maybe something happened when I was in the military. I don't know. Maybe.
Right.
And so I'm doing this thing. And I go to my board and I tell my board, I said, I want to do these lit bags. And they go, lit bags. I go, yeah, because they used to do these things called kudo bags if you do a good job. But I think we should do lit bags. And it's for anybody who lifted, inspired, and transformed it, somebody. And my friend, she was on the board. She texted me. She was like, bruh, no. And she's like the co-chair. So it's not like she has more authority than me. She was like, no, that's so ratchet. That's so hood. Da 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 da. And she's like, of course, you gonna go there, Mr. Black Man, with your chain on, because it's there's this stigma of you have to look a certain way to be professional. And that stigma has plagued, I think, especially the Black community. I can't really speak for a whole lot of other ones, but I can because I see it happen. I can see a white person and a Black person going to the same thing. The white person's hair 4 inches above, the Black person got locks. And for some reason, the white person is professional and the Black person is not. And that's one of those things that I'm always fighting against. Like, if we're going to be equal across the board, whether it's gender, no matter what it is, And so they were starting this rule, like tucking your shirt at work. And I was like, do the women tuck in their shirts as well?
Come again and say what?
And the director was a woman. She was like, I'm not tucking my shirt in. I was like, but you just told the men to tuck their shirts in. I said, and we're in a field where we're supposed to encompass everybody, no matter what the walk of life is. It's supposed to fit. I mean, that's the whole goal of counseling. So I had to go, as I was about to say, I had to go to a university that day. Shout out NSU, green and gold, behold, the green and gold, you know what I'm saying? Spartan Nation. But I had to go to, and it was a Black college. And one of the professors had invited me to be a guest lecturer. And while I was in there, I just started thinking, like, they want me to have my shirt tucked in when I go to this event. It's 94 degrees outside. Humidity's at 100. It makes no sense. I changed over to my Jordans and my t-shirt. And so happened the t-shirt said love. Just randomly, I picked this t-shirt because I'm rushing, right? And it says love. And I go into the classroom and my friend who's the professor, she looks at me, she goes, and then the dean, he goes, where you work? And had my badge on. I was like, oh, this group over here, blah, blah. And they was like, oh, okay. And it was kind of one of them things like, no, I'm like, so now I already know, right? Because you get that feeling, when you've entered a professional environment, but you're underdressed or overdressed. And so I tell the students, I say, who wants to be lit in here? Now, these are people that's like in their senior years, and they all kind of look up like, this man saying, I said, who wants to be lit? And one dude was like, shit, I'll be lit. And his natural response sparked everybody else in the room. I said, did you see what you just did? You sparked everybody in this place. And I said, when I said who want to be lit in here, y'all looked at me as if, who is this man? And why is he coming asking us that? I said, but you want to go to the world, to these lower communities, these poverty-ridden, gentrified neighborhoods and help people, but you don't want to be lit? I said, the goal of social science, we've learned it all backwards. We've learned, oh, we're going to go save the world. It's going to be so wonderful. I'm just doing the greater good because I have this intrinsic thing inside of me. Oh my. I said, and that's all stupid as shit. I said, because I'm telling you this and you're about to graduate in less than 3 months. And you're just now hearing that the field sucks. And you're just now hearing you're not going to save the world. And you're just now understanding that everything in you that you thought you were working for, getting a degree, you're not going to be able to afford it because you're not going to get paid what you're worth. And in that moment, me telling them that, it hit me. It hit me like, and then I mean, it hit me like a brick. And I almost I can remember the day. It was like I said it. I actually said those words. And my friend, she was looking like, now she's a licensed social worker. She's looking at me like, bruh, we know we need people in the field. You're about to scare me. And I say, but what you do get out of it, you get to lift, inspire, and transform people's lives.
Mm, man.
That's what you get to do.
So, in my mind goes to, because I love stories, right? And a great storyteller, which you are. In my mind, I think, did you ask him, did you go back and say, okay, now who wants to be lit? After explaining what that is.
Actually, so after I said that, at the end of me actually going through the steps and the process and the things that they're actually probably going to have to deal with, right? And just some of the hard times, and being Black and being white, because those are two different things. Sometimes we've learned something, but if you're Black and you go to all white neighborhood, or if you're white and you're going to these all Black neighborhoods, you're going to have to move different and operate differently because you already stand out.
Right.
And so when I get to the end, I say, now who's lifting, inspiring, and transforming people? And they all jump up and they're just like so enthusiastic. And I was like, I do have this little enthusiastic drill. And I'm like, to be enthusiastic, you have to act enthusiastic. Let's go. And I was like, now repeat after me and say that. And I mean, they were so on fire that I wind up spending an extra hour and a half just answering questions. And real answers, because, you know, it's not, I mean, you know, you're a coach. How often do you get to go ask other coaches questions? You have to actually go into that space, or you have to pay for that space, but if somebody come in from the real world and be like, I wish Elisa Nichols would be like, hey, okay, let me tell you something. It ain't been easy, baby, because you had to do with this contract and then this person. And when I was trying to get on Mind Valley, but actually break that down to you to like where it actually works in your real life, in your real time. That's where the difference is. It's having that. And I always said I will always be available for that.
Yeah. So, bro, in these
I guess it was 2019,
years,
just to answer the question, because I said all that. 2019 is when it became like, okay, let me go apply for the LLC. And then the hardest part is really focusing on my stuff. And I'm still getting there, because 2020 happened. Like I literally, I got my LLC, I want to say either November or December. And guess what happened in 2020? Like literally right there. Hey, there's COVID.
Yeah. Like you said, that journey continues. It's an ongoing process, that growth. So in thinking back to the last couple of years, right, and you actually turned into a business, day to day, what are some of those day-to-day challenges that you face in now being an entrepreneur and making it work, right? Because, you know, I say my 3 W's, universal align to give you what you want, will, and work for. You got to put in some work. So what are some of those day-to-day challenges for you as an entrepreneur?
I think the biggest challenge is, though I can schedule, and I have all these boards and sticky notes everywhere, but though I can schedule and I can do all of those things, it's finding the right audience. Because what I have learned is that my voice isn't for everybody. And the method in which I use is definitely not for everybody. And so I know that there's people that deal with kind of the same field I deal with. You deal with transformational coaching, you deal with an identity, you're dealing with career building, you're dealing with, you know, on the consultation side, you're dealing with businesses who like, your emotional intelligence as a business sucks. But being able to say that and being detailed. And so just finding the right audiences has been my biggest thing, because I'll read something or I'll talk to somebody, or somebody will do a consult, you know, we'll do the hour consultation, we'll come up with a plan, they'll do the assessments. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't think we're a good fit. And so, you know, sometimes I wonder, dang, do I turn down some of the people, you know, whatever, or do people not come to me because I'm very just authentic. How you see it is how you get it. And that's just it. Like, I'm gonna smile, I'm gonna be nice, but at the same time, I tell you, get your shit together. And I'm gonna say it just like that. I'm not gonna, well, I was really thinking, no. Because the world is gonna slap you in the face. And the world's gonna say way harsher things to you than I did. And you've already probably been hurt by some trigger words and trigger things. But if you can't separate that to get to where you got to go, then I'm not the coach for you. I'm not the consultant for you. If you're trying to diversify, but you still got all white people on the board, we got an issue.
Yeah.
And so, you know,
man, that's huge. And that's one, I think, the beauty again of these interviews and talking to entrepreneurs, and the hope is that it would inspire not only budding entrepreneurs and people who want to get into it, right? But also the entrepreneurs that is like, man, hey, we talked about this, right, too, on our show on Convos, that burnout, right? They're getting close to that point, and they can come back and reflect on all the different angles of each entrepreneur that's been on here now over 40. And so I love that you said finding the right audience, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's the first time you're hearing that, and that's so big. That's huge, finding that right audience. So on the flip side of that, what's the most satisfying part for you being an entrepreneur and doing what you do, and just the whole idea of giving the world that unfiltered love? What's the most satisfying part for you as an entrepreneur?
And forgive me early, right? Creating motherfucking magic.
Ooh, come on, bro.
I mean, and that when you started asking, it just came. Creating motherfucking magic. And I know people are like, what? But when you can create magic, and magic is not something that it goes on. Magic is making a genuine connection.
Yeah.
Making a genuine interconnection. I forgot the I. I'll be leaving letters out. But that's what it is. And then once you make that connection, and look, you got to make a genuine inner. It starts in you. Connection to everything else in life. And once you do that and you see things change and you see things develop and you say, damn, maybe I can be free and live my mega life today. He's not just saying that. And I see other people do that and they take a hold of that and they deal with their inner parts. And bruh, I mean, I'm getting excited just thinking about it, because that's how real it is to me. Like, it's magic. We make magic every day, and magic and power are my favorite things in this world. And I know some people don't say that, but I love creating that genuine connection, but I love power. And power is simply the ability to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, and how I want to do it. Who don't want power? Who don't want power? I mean, we all work for something. We work for, and so when you're free to do all those things, if right now I get to the level I want to get to, and I have 4 jets sitting outside my house, and I say, hey, Mike, I need you real quick. Could you go speak in Zimbabwe? I'm gonna send the jet to come get you. Don't worry about nothing. Don't take no clothes. The tailor gonna be there to dress you. I'm happy because it's something I didn't have to do. And I tell you this, we've talked about this, but I really like being behind the scenes. However, when you know you're a leader and you have a dominant personality and you are a coach, you can't just sit back while shit go on. So you become that. And so, but then that's when that magic hits, right? Because it's the art of negotiation. It's the art of listening. It's the art of self-control. It's the art of discipline. And it's the art of shutting the hell up sometimes.
Oh, come on, bro. Man, you just gave like 2-3 t-shirt ideas in that. I'm like, Kelz got this in his professional notebook. Of course, we would make it child friendly. Make MF and magic. I love that, because that is it, man. And even when you gave that analogy, right, of getting where you want to be and having that power to do that, one thing you mentioned was reaching out. Because in that example, right, that out of the overflow of the heart, right? So that shows what you want to do, right? And even saying that, that's what I love about it. And having that entrepreneurial spirit, it gives you that power to create what you really want to see. And that's that for you to keep doing it, keep going, man.
Yeah, definitely.
So take this time, bro. And I want you to talk to that person that's watching this, 2 Black men in business, for all of the Black women, Black men, young, all ages that I've had on here. Take a moment to give some advice. What advice would you give to that person that said, you know what, if they can do it, I can do it? That high schooler, that college student, that person who's been working on the job 15 years and they got that notebook with all the sticky notes and tabs, making the business plan, right? Give some
That's
advice.
one.
What
One of
advice,
many.
right? What advice would you give to that person that wants to go into business or wants to dive into entrepreneurship?
Whew. That's a loaded question. It really is. And just to keep it short and simple, do the shit that makes you happy. And do the shit that's going to make you some money. The one piece of advice that I always wish anybody would have gave to me, and I give now, and what I did not say during that lecture that I was talking about when I went to go lecture at this school that made me an entrepreneur, is that nobody told me, Kel, you're not going to make enough money. You may be struggling with your bills. You're going to work all these long hours and you're going to get paid a little above the minimum wage, but it's going to sound good because you're fixing the community and you're hurting your heart. And that's all good. Those are all warm and fuzzies and you should do those things. But if you have an economic stance before you do that shit, you're going to make it even better. You can help way more people. So if somebody would have said, okay, we know you want to be a sociology major and we know you want this degree in human sexuality. Those are great. And you're probably going to be a great therapist, a good counselor. But what we really should have told you is to keep a business degree or a biology degree or I loved math. My original degree was going to be in mathematics, and then my secondary degree was going to be in urban planning. Had somebody told me that I could have been an urban planner and out here developing multi-billion-dollar businesses, and I'll probably be a multi-millionaire by now, instead of saying, go follow your heart, I'll be a multi-millionaire still following my heart. I'll just have money to back it. It'll just be a faster process of me helping people create the lives that they want to live, create that freedom that they want to be in. And so that's what I say. Make some money and still live your dream. Make some money and still live your dream. That don't mean that money's everything. That don't mean that you can't be wealthy by living your dream. But if you have money and you have an economic stance, that's where you have change. That's where you have influence. That's where lobbyists come from. That's when we get laws to act in our favor. That's when we are able to say, hey, my community looks out for me because I'm able to take care of my community.
Yeah, man. It's always these things that come to mind as people are talking and I'm talking to people, and get your ducks in a row financially, right? Because I talked about that, right? You have that book of your business plan that you want. Like, this is what I want. I'm this and that. The finances is something that people skip over sometimes, right? Having that foundation, because it's like you go off to college, right? You leave high school, you're like, yeah, I got a little money saved up. You don't realize how quick
I got all this graduation money. What you realize when that transition, and even still sometimes, you don't realize how expensive things are.
Yeah.
I mean, just a simple paperwork for your business and maintaining that. I mean, literally paperwork done correctly will cost you about $1,000 a year. And that's just paperwork.
Taxes.
That's what I'm saying. That's just paperwork. That's just paperwork.
Right.
I mean, if you have a brick and mortar business, that's electricity. I mean, even if you're working out of your house, you're still thinking of the electric bills. You're thinking you still need the latest. I mean, this right here, if we don't have clear cameras and technology that actually coincide, that's still, we have to think like that. And this is how I got to I'm gonna just say this real quick. My bad. But this is how Black people get played under the market, because we have not invested in us enough, right? Because we hadn't learned that financial literacy piece. And so we say, well, Bob Proctor is charging $1,000 for that course. And I just started last year. And I kind of feel like I might be better than him. Oh, but Lisa Nichols only charged $749. Ooh, Sonia got a course for $6 something. I guess I'll charge $3. Why? Why? Somebody didn't know them either. They just believe that they should make the money that they should make. And you need to believe, make the money that you want to make. Low frequencies will attract low audiences.
Come on now. Reflection. Hey, bro, look at you. You being a preacher after all.
I do. I just preach to the hood. I just preach to the hood now. Yeah, I preach to the hood.
Right. I got a different audience.
Different audience.
Man,
you still do it.
We ain't in the pews. We in the public. I love it. I love it, man.
Where it matters.
Unfiltered love. This is awesome. And, of course, with our connection, I just look forward to what's coming from you and all the things. And listen, man, let me just say, it's some dope stuff going on Convos, and all the collaborations and the things that we have going on. I'm just excited to see where everybody's going. Bro, just some of the shows I've dived into, I'm like taking notes sometimes, even when I don't send in a reply or come on stage, because I talk about circle in your web, man. When you're in the right web and you connect to that right synergy, you have no choice, right? You have no choice but to grow. When we stop learning, when we stop growing, we die.
So, that's what I say all the time. I literally say on my podcast just about every week. The moment you stop learning, you die.
That's it, right? Because you're learning something. People at their last breath, they're learning something until you stop. So and a lot of times, the sicker you are, the more you learn. You learn all the things that's not automatic. You learn all the things that just don't happen.
Say that one more time, Pastor. You said a lot.
Bro, don't make me preach. But
we know you can talk. I get on my golf talking.
You know what?
But
and this is the beautiful thing about us. This is the beautiful thing about you and I. We're two peas in a pod, because we will both go on, and that's why I'm like, look, I'm gonna be in neutral.
I done told about 15 stories. I done told about 17 million stories. Mike is sitting here just letting me talk, because usually I'd be like, bro, why you telling this long story? And now I'm the one telling all these.
That's it.
But I love it.
You know what?
That's just reality of what life is.
That was a thought. That was a thought, bro. I'm like, look, bro's on here. This is your space, because I knew you were gonna come with gems and just nonstop good stuff. Listen, you at home, I hope you're taking notes, writing down some of these gems. I tell people all the time, I go back and watch these interviews because it inspires me. And the other thing I tell people in the whole thought process of doing Black business booming is because I don't need anyone to tell me what Black people are or are not doing. I think I've said that in every interview. And here's why: because I know what my circle's doing. I know the coaches and the doctors and the teachers and the lawyers and the entrepreneurs, multiple business and designers and podcasters, what they're doing. So that's why I do it. Unfiltered love, bro. What's next for you in your business as you are free, as you're being free and living your mega life? What's next?
First off, before I even answer that, I just want to appreciate you for a few minutes, because you've been doing some pretty awesome things. You have, and you've been doing it the right way, the legal way, the way that a lot of people miss out on, a way that people can do it. And you're inspiring people. Whether you know it or not, you are forced to be reckoned with. You look up to some of these people, and you look up to some of these people, and you're like, okay, they doing good. I think I'm on those lines. I'm gonna just tell you today, you're on those lines. That I wouldn't be surprised within the next 2 to 3 years that you are the ET that people are looking for.
Great. Hold on, stop, man. Look,
I'm serious.
I gotta pause you. I love to take that in, and I really appreciate it, bro. But let me just say this: when you said that name, right, this is how strong that is for me. Probably the first speaker that I connected with on a level of, hey, that's my path right there, ET. I have a list of those, but even in a coaching session with my coach years ago, and it's about that embodying in that felt sense, connecting to that person you want to be. And it was name 3 people. Name 3 people that inspires you, that you look up to. They can be in any area. The speaker coach that I picked was ET. Funny thing,
Wow.
in 2009, I'm just sharing this story because when you said that, it hit me. It's like, in 2009, my wife and I, we were in Vegas for our honeymoon. And I'm just walking through the Venetian and I turn the corner and I'm like, and walking towards me is ET. And now in hindsight, I'm a couple years out of college at the time. I'm not even thinking about, I'm a personal trainer. I'm not thinking about where I will be today. In hindsight, I always think, man, why did I get a picture of it? I always try to play it cool, right, bro? So I was like, ET? It's like, yeah, brother, what's going on, man? So down to earth, dap me up. I was like, man, I'm a big fan. He was like, I appreciate that, brother. Love. He kept walking, I kept walking. And it just, now I look back at it and say that happened for a reason. And so now fast forward, taking his courses and actually being in the Speakers Academy under one of his proteges, Jeremy Anderson. It's just all these things that connect. So when you said I had to interrupt, like, bro, I appreciate it. Definitely. Gratitude, though.
But yeah, I see that. I would not be surprised if people are coming to you for that same mentorship, that same hard love, that same, hey, I love you, but I'm just, look, I gotta let you know, do you really want it? And if you do, I got you. But if you don't, get out. So keep doing what you're doing. But next for me, is I always say I'm the coach's coach, I'm the preacher's preacher, I'm the trainer's trainer, I'm the teacher's teacher, and I'm the cook's chef. Okay.
Come on, bro. I love that. Love it.
And I say that, but that is really what I want to do. For me is to build the Unfiltered Love Academy. And it's not even, whether it's digital, whether it's in person, whether it's just me getting on a call with a bunch of people and building other freedom coaches. I'm the only one. But I know that there's more people that knows what it feels like not to be free. I know it's other people that have been in bondage and that say, you know what, I too have a voice. However, I don't know how to unleash it. So it's kind of building that curriculum, which is already basically done, but it's building that curriculum and putting it out there to say, you want to be a freedom coach? Let me help you along that path. You ever been bound? Let me help you help somebody else get free. And the goal is to go around the world and just millions of people are free. I tell on my podcast, every time I do my podcast, I say, I'm going to reach 7.6 billion people. Because that's how many people on earth. Now, we don't know how many Corona took out, and we don't know how many it's going to take out. But, by like 2094, I think it's really 8 billion people on the planet. But I want to reach all of those little villages in China, those little villages in Indonesia, the little places in freaking Suriname, the little places in Central America that you don't hear of, all the places in Africa. Yeah. I would like to visit all 1,000 countries in Africa, okay? And they be like, oh, we know him, that's our brother. And not feel anything about it. Just visit them and say, hey, you come on, be free. What does freedom look like to you? Let's get that, whatever it looks like for you, that's what we're getting. That's where, and kind of move to this more henotheistic society where your truth is your truth, but my truth is my truth. But we live in this great harmonious balance that says, hey, you're not all bad and you're not all good, but you're free.
Let's go. I love it, bro. Listen, I reflect that back to you, man. Just some amazing things in the times that I've known you and the times I've tapped into the podcast, man. Just amazing in your approach. And anyone who connects with you feels that unfiltered love, right? What that means and how you embody that. So definitely appreciate you for doing this, man, for doing this interview. Listen again, people, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. And now, bro, with this space and this time, let people know how they can connect with you to experience all that is unfiltered love. Let people know where you are, man.
So got a new website that'll be up and running. If you go there now, the color is off. It ain't even, I'm changing my whole brand. So, this is the thing. I had talked to Mike about it before, but like rebranding is, it's a doozy. It is, rebranding is, because when you change your color schemes, just changing one color is a problem. But when you want to rebrand and revamp your whole everything, it's a lot. So I'm under rebranding. But if you go to KELZLISON, Kelzlison.com, Or if you just type in Unfiltered Love, literally you type Unfiltered Love radio podcast, I'll pop up. You'll see my music, you'll see my podcast, you'll probably see some YouTube videos. But that's, I mean, you could, and that's Kelzlison's on Instagram, on Facebook. Where else? Twitter. Twitter, I'm a little, it's real unfiltered because you're going to get all the political stuff cussed out and be sportsy, but you're going to learn about Jesus too. Or, you know, the whole God thing. It's like, I'm just telling y'all, it's all that. Instagram too, you know, because, you know, let Rihanna or Beyonce put a picture out. I know there is a God. And he looked out for me because my eyes saw the glory.
He's thinking about you.
Yeah, he thought about me when he created certain people. So, but yeah, seriously, and you'll get that motivational. Like every day I try to do something to let you know it's okay to be human. But it's also okay to be free. So go look at me on all those platforms. Reach out if you need coaching, you know anybody who need it, somebody who, you know, it's funny moving over into the more consulting side of things. It's like, yo, you need anybody that need analytics? You need to know the static of your business. So it's like a whole different, you know, it's a different realm, but it's like, it's fun because now I'm looking at businesses and I say, okay, I see what you're doing. And your SWOT looks okay. How are you implementing this? And that's the implementation of business is where I'm really strong. I really want to help businesses get to where they want to get. Just like I want to help people get to their freedom, I want to help businesses get to their freedom too. I want us to be the next $1 trillion companies. You know, I want to see more Black people controlling the system and controlling the narrative. Because if we don't control the system and the narrative, we're creating jobs just so the 1% can still be the 1% without us ever implementing who we are in the 1%. It can't just be 2 or 3 of us. It shouldn't be a surprise when we see a Black billionaire anymore. Because we all can walk into that.
Thanks. Right.
You know.
I love it, man. Listen, of course, I'm going to put the links, how you connect with Kelz across different platforms. Make sure you check them out. Go to the site, tap in. Again, thank you, each and every one of you for watching another episode of Black Business Booming. To my guests, thank you, bro. Anything you want to leave the people with before we head out?
Like I always say when I close any show, be free and live your mega life.
Come on, you heard it, do it, and we'll see you next time on another episode of Black Business Booming. Peace.
Y'all be good.